All right, we're inside the mining section of the barn. Just closed it in. I think I made a little video on this before, but we're trying to put them in a playlist so that people can follow through a little easier. These are all running 3-phase. They're currently online right now. There's 12 of them in parallel. Each one of them is a 6200 watt inverter, 6.2 kW. Each one of them has, well, when we're done, each one of them will have one 650 watt panel string per inverter, which comes out to 6.5 kilowatts. With 10 panels, comes out to 6.5 kilowatts per inverter, which should be enough feed coming in. Now these all feed from the battery bank, which is right over there. You see the two big copper bus bars. Those are 48 volt DC bus bars. You see the batteries setting right there. Now, when we get this going, I'm gonna take the other two that look like those out of the she shed and bring them down here too. Because once we get everything moved to here, we won't need the she shed to do mining. And I've got more batteries coming. It's gonna take a lot of batteries. All right, the 3 inverters right above that are not turned on right now. They're not finished getting hooked up. Those are gonna run the barn. That's gonna run the power out here for the lighting, the air conditioning, so forth, so on. We have 3 strings of panels on the roof of the barn, and that's what we're gonna hook, one to each one of those. Okay, right now they're still tied into these panels over here. You'll see a lot of the solar wire coming through a little hole because it's temporary. Just trying to mine. I don't want no money to get away while I'm working if I can help it, you know. Now there are some of these, the grid that rotates is actually tied in all the way, finished, done. And it's the one going to these 3 inverters right here, which is why the covers are all on everything, the breakers are in there. Those are the actual solar wires right there. Okay, that's how they'll all be in the end. They all will come in through those 2 feeds through the wall right there, which come in from a big junction box outside, which has conduits that go across all the way out to the panels. All right, all the ones hanging out, those are just temporary. 3 of them are ones coming from the roof of the barn. Like I said, when I get the other tie-in done over there, I'm gonna move them up there, bring them in, and they'll feed those. And then all the ones for these will come in through the wall there. All right, and all the inverters end up here. They're all labeled which inverter it is, and of course what phase it is just the color of the wire. So you have 30 amps coming in from each inverter, 12 of them. That's how much power. And right now I don't have the 110 220 hooked up, so to run the little pump that runs the water, I had to use a 3-phase to, or 240 to 120 converter. And again, there's another one of them little relays that I plugged a water pump into so I could turn it on and off. And then this is a bigger relay that I feed out of there temporarily for now, and this is what's running the miners outside, the 4 water-cooled ones. All right, this is the other termination from the shelves where the miners are going to go. This will have these in there eventually, and of course it'll tie into the main box, and then there'll be a 110 box above it, and that's all the electrical will tie in this corner. I'm going to add 3 more inverters across here, and then we'll conduit over, and 9 more on that side, so that eventually I'll have 24 inverters running the mining part, and the 3 running the barn itself. It's the plan. It's going to take time. All right. And of course the 48 volt bus bar, you see the little Raspberry Pi with the solar assistant installed on it above there. And I've actually got this one talking to the batteries. The solar assistant will talk to the batteries. Still can't get the inverters to talk to the batteries. And then that's all the cables for the inverters to feed. Of course, they're all labeled and marked. And that's kind of really it for out here as far as what we've got going on right now. We don't have all of the big solar panels put up. I still got to put up 4 more runs of the rotating ones. Once I get those put up, then all of these will be tied to all of those, and should really work good, because you can watch the, right now I've got them current limited to 30 amps per inverter, and you see most of them are doing about 30 amps. But if I lift that in the programming, and then let them open on up, you'll hear the fans ramp here in a second. Here we go. I don't know if you can hear that on the video, but you can hear the fans coming up. You'll notice, because those panels that rotate and follow the sun that are hooked to these 3 panels, I set the current limit on 80 amps. These 3 panels are all putting out 80 amps. Then you drop down to the ones that are on fixed installation, 21 amps, 28 amps, 14 amps, 34, 28, 35, 19, 37, and I gotta scroll back to the correct spot in the display, 46. Now this one is actually the east-facing barn grid, and it is early in the morning, so this one would make sense to have more power on it. But the fixed installation ones just vary through the day, you know. Like in the morning, this one's really hitting, but at like 2 o'clock when the sun's on the other side, this one's come down and the west-facing ones come up. Whereas the ones that follow the sun are just pinned out all the time. The moving really does matter. I mean, it really does. It makes a lot of difference, at least from what I've seen. Now, I know all the stuff online says you get maybe 20% more power. And, you know, that might be right, because they may be smarter than me, and they're better at math than me, and they can do all these other things better than me. But still, if you're pushing 72 kilowatts of power, 20%, you know, that's a whole nother inverter almost. So you're getting like a whole extra inverter for every one of them that you do. So, I don't know, seems like a good deal to me for the amount of effort that went into it. And that grid mount, if you watch the video, I actually barely have more money in it than a stationary mount. But the stationary mounts only hold 20 panels. That one will hold over 30. Once you do that math, it's actually cheaper than the stationary mounts. Now, I haven't done the math on a lot of the little ground mounts that you can buy individually from like Signature Solar and stuff, and just set them up. It may be more expensive than those, but it's probably not by a lot. I know I watched that one review where a guy tested like 5 different kinds, and he did have one grid that held, I think he said 14 panels. and it was over $5,000. We've barely got $5,000 in that, and it holds over 30 panels and tracks. So I don't know. I'm pretty sold on it, pretty convinced on it. And but that's it for the, I guess y'all can send me any questions you got. These are just big DC circuit breakers feeding inverters, and those are the PV breakers. And once they're all wired in, you know, the covers will all go on the troughs, and all that'll be left will be conduit. You won't see any wire. It'll be nice. It'll be clean. You know, it'll be safe to come in here and not worry about getting electrocuted. And that's it.